Sports fans. Before I get into what Gary Bettman said about the NHL in this segment, one thing I forgot to mention that's baseball related is that former Tiger and current Astros pitcher Justin Verlander reported yesterday that he'll need Tommy John surgery. I don't know if this means he's going to end up missing all of next season, but based on what happened to Michael Fulmer, you can imagine it might. And at this stage of his career, it could even be career-threatening. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that with Justin Verlander. And I have no idea what he wants to do. I know he has reported stating he'd like to pitch until he's 45. So I'm going to assume he's probably going to come back, but at this time we just don't know this for sure. But it's some very interesting news to be sure. Now getting to Gary Bettman and what he said about this upcoming NHL season. Essentially what it was is he wasn't certain when the season would start. It could be December, it could also be January. However, he was uncertain about how games were going to be played, whether they were going to be played in a bubble or whether they're going to be played in stadiums with a few fans, no fans, what have you, or arenas if you will. He also talked about a little bit about the Winter Classic, which is typically played on New Year's Day. And I think what he said probably encompassed all the Winter Classics. And essentially that was that they may have to be postponed because the NHL may not be ready to play by that time, which I certainly understand. As of right now, there is no timetable for the start of the NHL season, much less how the games are going to be played. But one thing I give him credit for to this point is we're now to the Stanley Cup Finals. And from what I read earlier today, there have been over 30,000 tests administered to the NHL players, and there has not been one positive test. So major kudos to Gary Bettman for how he's handled all of this. As I was one of his biggest critics in saying that the NHL season or the rest of it ought to have been canceled, but he's really proven me wrong to this extent. I mean, I still don't agree with the games being played, time frame that they've been, but since they have been played, the fact that there have been no positive tests, I think this bodes well for the future in the NHL, though be it we may have to expect to have something less than a full season next year. And that will do it for another episode of Sports with Ed. Don't forget, the U.S. Open will be on NBC today, and also there will be football. I will be back later tonight with a report about what happened during this final round of the U.S. Open, if at all possible. If not, it may be on Tuesday. So for now, take care, drive safely, have a good day, and goodbye for now.